So it's officially been a week since the end of the Dragon Ball Breakers beta, and I kind of want to sit down and talk about some of the things that the game actually needs when it comes out in 2022. Before I get into this, I want to point out this game is not going to be for everybody. If you don't enjoy games like Friday the 13th, Dead by Daylight, or the new one that just came out, Prop Night, this game isn't for you. This game is targeting that audience, and lucky enough for me, I'm part of that audience. I love those kind of games, whether I'm teaming up with my friends to take out the bad guy, or I am the bad guy. Those games are just super fun to play with the right group of people. Again, that's where the debate pops in. Is the game really good, but it's only fun with friends? And I don't know, it's really an answer up to you guys. Does anyone here actually play Dead by Daylight or Friday the 13th, or games like that solo? Let me know down below and why. Again, not knocking you, I just want to know why. But for me personally, I will only play Dragon Ball Breakers with friends whenever we're in the mood for it. I'm glad we have another game rotation, because again, I have Dead by Daylight, I had Friday the 13th, Prop Night, and whatever else game comes out in between then, and now Breakers when it comes out in 2022, and I'm excited to have that in the rotation. But for me, Breakers is a lot of fun because I just enjoy those kind of games. But it's not a perfect game at all. The game has a lot of flaws. It feels very, very janky. And if you want to check out my overall initial first impression thoughts, I have another video I did a couple days ago talking about my experience with the beta. But for this video, I mostly want to focus on what I want to see with the actual release of the game. In the comment section below, I want to hear from you guys as well. So if there's anything you want to see with the release of the game, let me know what it is and why down below. And if you enjoy videos like this, feel free to hit that thumbs up as well. But first things first on my list is Proxy. Proxy makes these games thrive. Imagine you're planning a plan. You have a plan you're coming up with. You know, me, my friends figure it out. Like, oh yeah, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna gather the Dragon Balls, and Cell pulls up. You can't talk now. You gotta be quiet, because if Cell hears your plan, he's gonna not only find you and eviscerate you, but two, he's gonna try to stop that plan. I feel like it's gonna add a difficulty factor where, number one, it's gonna be harder to plan because you gotta be with your friends when it happens, number one. And two, if the villain shows up, you gotta be careful what you say, because you don't want to give your plan up. Now again, this might be kind of debatable, because obviously the problem now is it gives the villain more reason to be powerful, which they already are. So it might be kind of up in the air. But at the same time, if that's the case, if you want to do the normal Discord route like we did on stream, then you can. But having Proxy as an option definitely is enjoyable, because imagine this, right? I'm hiding. Both me and Dado, for example, turn to a glass bottle, and we're hiding next to, I don't know, a bush, and Cell shows up, and I just hear because Cell stepped on Dado as a bottle. It'll be hilarious. Just getting those kind of like comedic factors would make the game so much more enjoyable, and Proxy is just the way to do it. I am definitely getting this game on PC, because worst case scenario, they don't have Proxy in it, modders will add it. Much love to all the modders that mod for any game out there, because you guys are just a gift from God. So yeah. Number two, more villains. Now at the time of me recording this, we know there are 3 villains confirmed in the game: Frieza, Boo, and Cell. Cell, obviously, we got to play with. We don't really know how much they're gonna play with the villains in the future, or how different the villains are gonna be. I mean, in general, it's gonna be essentially the same. You pick a villain, you start like in the initial first form, and then you transform. I don't know how Frieza's gonna work. I don't know if he's gonna be in this little pod, and then it continuously evolves from, you know, the pod Frieza to the final form, and how Boo is gonna work. Boo might just be, I don't know, Spopovich and Yamu at first, and then it becomes Majin Buu over time. I have no idea. But the cool thing is, every character from the villain arc will definitely play differently, and that could also add more spice to whether or not you like playing as a villain. I personally don't really like playing as Cell. I'll be real with you. It was cool being the larva and then building yourself up to, like, you know, the final form, the perfect form. But at the same time, I can only do that so long before I get really, really bored. In fact, I only did it once and I was basically done. Do I want to play again? Absolutely. But over time, I'm just going to be like, you know what? This is not as enjoyable. Like, I hate fighting as the villain, Jason, in Friday the 13th, because every Jason you have essentially plays the same. I mean, they have different like abilities and boosts and stuff like that, but in general, they all basically play the same. But if every villain in this game plays drastically different, similar to how we have in Dead by Daylight, I'm here for it. Imagine Boo being able to just like absorb everybody, or leave little Boo traps where if you end up going too close, you get absorbed and then you get added to the team. Sounds kind of overpowered and busted, but like having different elements will make different villains more fun in the game. I feel like when it comes down to it, I might enjoy playing Frieza more than anything, because Frieza might be so unique that'll make me a bigger fan of being a villain in the game. Like, basically, the key to this game's future are the villains. You can also even do crazy things like adding Goku Black. Imagine being Goku Black, taking out the Resistance, or being part of Resistance. That will be a big key to the future of the game. And I'll be real with you. We can probably assume, it's safe to assume actually, that when this game comes out, it'll probably only have Boo, Frieza, and Cell, and then after that, whatever they add will happen over the course of maybe like every month or so, which they should do, by the way, which I'm gonna talk about actually in a bit. But more villains will definitely add the different layers of how fun the game could be. And by the way, before I get into it, I also want to mention that being a villain right now is so overpowered, which it should be technically. I mean, you're Cell. If I'm perfect Cell and you're a regular ass human, I should obviously be stronger than you. But still, they also got to figure out a better balance where it's not too broken where being a villain will almost always win. I think we won a handful of times, and that includes either winning together by, you know, fixing the main time machine or running off on our own and finding the small time machine. We won a handful of times in that 4-hour session that we played. But in general, it is pretty powerful to be the villain, and that could use a tweak. So depending on how the other villains work, it's going to be a big challenge to make sure it gets just right. Because let's be real, if you pick a human and you always end up being human and lose every single game, the game might be not fun in the long run. But again, that's a whole balance issue to figure out later, which is going to be on Bandai in the future. But more villains, the more villains, the better. In fact, comment section below, let's say Frieza, Cell, and Boo are the first villains. Who is the 4th, 5th, and 6th villain you add in the initial release? Let me know down below, whether it be someone like Goku Black, even Janemba. Give me your best villain options. Also, I would love to see giant villains as well. Those maps are massive, so being able to be like, I don't know, like Harudegar or something like that, or even Great Ape Vegeta could be a lot of fun. So let me know what you guys want to see in regards to other villains in the future of the game. Now, the other one for me now on this list of what they need to add to this game is more maps. Now, the thing that has me worried, games like this tend to not have that many maps. And when they release them, it's kind of like over longer periods of time. The thing that made me worried is the initial map that they had for the beta had kind of covered every single ground. We had like a city area, we had a desert area, we had Frieza's spaceship area, we had like kind of like a wastelandy area, like in the woods and stuff. And the fact that they covered so many things within one leads me to believe when this game drops, that'll be the only map. Possibly, question mark. Maybe they might have two, I'm not really sure. But the fact that they had bits and pieces of every kind of Dragon Ball world within one map leads me to believe that that'll be the only map at first. Which isn't the worst. The good thing is the fact that there are a lot of elements to the map, so it feels pretty big and spacious. But at the same time, if I play the same map over and over again, I'm going to get bored. I'm gonna need Namek. I'm gonna need Destroyed Future. I'm gonna need whatever else they can add that will add a refreshing factor to the game where I'm not just playing the same thing over and over again. But again, I am worried because since they cover so much in one map, it leads me to believe that the initial release will only be that map, and that will hurt the game at the time when the game comes out. Now, good news is it is going to be a service-based game, and you can tell based on them having a battle pass and stuff like that, they'll be updating the game a lot. So maybe if they update maybe once a month, every 2 months, you know, it could be a good thing. But in general, we'll see where that's going to go. The next thing I want to see is more survivor abilities. Unfortunately, again, when you play a beta, you only get a small bit of the game. You don't really know what the full game will feel like. I mean, we know that the survivors will have things like being able to turn to a rocket and fly around. But like, we saw a lot of abilities in the initial trailers and the gameplay that Bandai released that weren't available in the beta. And again, it makes sense. It's a beta. You can't have the full game in the beta. But I still want to see where it's going to go, because I feel like for the most part, we kind of saw everything that's going to initially work for how the survivors work. Again, right now, to me, it's way more fun playing as a survivor only because you get to collaborate with your friends. But playing as a survivors isn't as much fun, because really all you're really doing is you're busting out the space spot to escape when you can, and then using the Spider-Man grapple hook to kind of traverse the lands. Outside that, they need to add more that'll make the survivors more, I guess, up to par with the villains. Because right now, really all you can do is just hide and then escape. That's it. So they need to do something else in there that maybe has like an offensive mechanism where you can fight back. I mean, we saw things like being able to pick up a rocket and kind of like stun your opponents and things like that. But in general, the only way that you can really fight back is either you get those spirits, where you can fight the weaker forms of the villains, or you stun them or escape. And I want to see what else they can do. Again, it's kind of hard to judge this part solely because we don't know what else is available for them. For all you know, they have a giant list of survivor abilities that will be available at day one that'll make playing that survivor way more fun. So it's up in the air, but I mean, it's a no-brainer. The more abilities, the better, and that's kind of where I'm going to leave this at. Now, for the final thing, and this is the part where I mentioned earlier, frequent content is what's going to keep the game alive. Now, one thing I noticed, I don't know if you guys all saw this, if you played the beta or you watch, gameplay content, there is a summon mechanic in the game. So obviously the big thing with this game is either the game is going to be free at launch or it's going to be super cheap, like 20 bucks or something like that. And then the main monetization option will be to either sell in-game cosmetics or even have you like buy those like coins that they have in games like Halo Infinite, Fortnite, like the V-Bucks, for example, where you can then spend on the game. So outside, there's actually a summon mechanic where you can summon for abilities and customization options for your characters. So that is going to be a big deciding factor how popular the game is over the course of time. Because the thing that makes games like Legends and Dokkan so good for people is the fact that they update it so frequently. Every single week or every other week, something new comes out to these games, which brings you back. And if they do something like that with this game, it's going to last a very, very long time. Now, obviously, we are talking about a console level game, so you can't update it on a weekly basis. But if they drop a character, like let's say every 2 months or so, because essentially they are reusing assets from Xenoverse, so it won't be that difficult to make. They could add a lot of long-term content that makes the game fun. I mean, imagine once a month they drop a new villain, or they drop a new map, or they drop a new mode, things like that. Like, if you keep doing that, the game in the long run can go so far. And again, with the variety of games that we have, like, every Dragon Ball fan will be excited for what they can do with these games. And that's something I really like. Again, one thing that I mentioned in my last video is, you know, they plan on doing a lot of content for Xenoverse and Fighters. And then if you add this in the mix as well, it's like we'll never get bored. And I'm excited for that. It's like 1 week we get Xenoverse updates, then we get a Fighters update, and then we get a Breakers update. Well, not really 1 week because it takes a lot longer, but you know what I mean. That to me is going to keep me so busy with all the variety of Dragon Ball games that exist, and that's something I'm looking forward to in the release of this game. But yeah, essentially that's kind of what I mostly want. But for me, the main thing is I want to see how the villains play, what they can do with it, what other villains they can add, and really if they add elements like proxy in the game, which will make them more fun in the long run. But I will tell you right now, again, the important thing for me to mention is I'm still mostly only going to play this game with friends. I'm probably never going to queue up solo just because I'm not really a fan of playing these games alone. Xenoverse and Fighters I'll do all the time, but with a game like this, I gotta be my friends. If I can't body my friends, then where's the fun? So yeah, I'm gonna end right here. It's a quick video. Again, let me know your thoughts down below, what you want to see if you're interested in games like this. Again, this is not gonna be a game for everybody. You know, the beauty of us being where we are right now is we have variety of games within our Dragon Ball genre, and just being added to the mix is only good. So yeah. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. Again, thank you guys for watching, and let's see what else we get over the course of the future. We have Jump Festa happening soon. Hopefully we get more reveals about this game as well as other drama related things over the course of the future. But for now, I'm gonna end the video right here. So thank you guys for watching. My name is Rhymestyle. I'll see you down below. Peace.